One morning, I woke up early. The sun was shining through my window. I looked at my phone and saw many messages. Every day I was busy with work. I had meetings, emails, and phone calls. But today I decided to stop. Today I would not work. I wanted to rest and enjoy my time. It felt strange, but I needed it. I got out of bed and made a cup of coffee. The smell was warm and sweet. I sat by the window and watched the street. People were walking fast. Cars were moving in a hurry. But I was not in a rush. I had no plans and no tasks. It was a new feeling for me. I took a deep breath and smiled. After breakfast, I picked up a book. It was an old book I loved. The pages were soft and yellow. I started reading slowly. The story was interesting and peaceful. Time passed, but I did not check the clock. I was lost in the words. It was nice to read again after a long time. Later I put on my shoes and went outside. The air was fresh and cool. The sun was warm on my skin. I walked down the street without a goal. The trees were green and the flowers were bright. Birds were singing in the sky. Everything looked beautiful and calm. I stopped at a small cafe on the corner. The smell of fresh bread filled the air. I ordered a cup of tea and found a quiet table. The chair was soft and the place was peaceful. People were talking and laughing. Some were reading and some were just thinking. I sat there and watched them. I thought about my life. Every day I worked hard. I was always busy, always tired. I never had time for myself. But today was different. Today I felt free. I felt happy and light. I wanted to enjoy more days like this. I needed more time to rest and breathe. When I finished my tea, I walked back home. The street was still busy, but I felt different. I was not thinking about emails or work. I was thinking about simple things. A good book, a warm drink, a quiet walk. These small things made me happy. They made life beautiful. At home I sat by the window again. The sun was going down. The sky was orange and pink. I took another deep breath. Today I did not work. Today I lived. And I knew I needed more days like this. Days for myself. Days to enjoy life. The evening air was cool and soft. A light breeze moved the trees outside. I sat on my couch and stretched my legs. My phone was on the table, silent. No emails, no calls, no work. I felt peaceful. I had spent the whole day for myself. It was different, but it was good. I smiled as I thought about it. I stood up and walked to the kitchen. I opened the fridge and looked inside. I wanted to make something special. Cooking was something I loved, but never had time for. I took out fresh vegetables and some rice. The kitchen was quiet as I started to cook. The smell of food filled the air. While cooking, I thought about my past days. Every morning I woke up and checked emails. I rushed through breakfast and worked all day. My mind was always busy. I never stopped to enjoy small things. But today was different. Today I slowed down, and it felt nice. I sat at the table with my food. The warm plate looked perfect. I took the first bite and closed my eyes. The taste was rich and delicious. I had made this meal with care and I enjoyed every bite. Eating slowly, I felt relaxed. I was not in a hurry. I had all the time I needed. After dinner, I cleaned the kitchen. The warm water felt nice on my hands. The plates and cups shined under the light. Cleaning was not a task today. It was part of my slow and peaceful evening. I took my time, enjoying the simple work. Everything felt calm. I walked to my bookshelf and looked at my books. There were so many I had not read. I chose another book and sat down. The words flowed like music in my mind. Time passed, but I did not care. The world inside the book was exciting. I felt like I was somewhere far away. After reading, I turned off the lights and looked outside. The night sky was deep blue, full of stars. The world was quiet and I felt at peace. I took a deep breath and stretched my arms. Today was a good day. A day just for me. I had enjoyed every moment. I went to bed feeling light. My body was relaxed and my mind was calm. I closed my eyes and smiled. I had learned something today. Life was not just work. It was also about rest, joy, and little things. And I knew I needed more days like this. More days to live. The next morning I woke up feeling fresh and light. The room was quiet and the sun was soft. I stretched my arms and took a deep breath. My mind was clear and my body was relaxed. I had no rush, no meetings, no stress. It felt different, but it felt good. I wanted to enjoy another slow and peaceful day. I walked to the kitchen and made a cup of coffee. The rich smell filled the air, warm and sweet. I stood by the window and watched the street. People were walking fast, cars were honking, and shops were opening. The world was busy, but I was calm. I sipped my coffee slowly, enjoying every moment. After breakfast, I decided to go outside again. The fresh air touched my face and the sun warmed my skin. I walked down the street, looking at everything around me. The trees, the flowers, the sky, all looked bright and beautiful. I had walked this way many times, but today I noticed new things. I reached a quiet park and sat on a wooden bench. The birds were singing and the leaves were dancing in the wind. Children were playing and old people were sitting under the trees. The park was peaceful. I closed my eyes for a moment, feeling the gentle breeze and listening to the sounds of nature. After some time I saw a small bookstore nearby. The door was open and the smell of paper and ink filled the air. I stepped inside and looked at the books. There were so many stories waiting to be read. I picked up a book and ran my fingers over the cover. It felt soft, old, and full of memories. I sat in a corner of the bookstore and started reading. The words pulled me into a different world, far from my own. Time passed, but I did not check my watch. I was lost in the story, enjoying every sentence. The world outside was busy, but inside everything was still and quiet. After reading for a while, I closed the book and stood up. I bought the book and walked out of the shop. The sky was turning orange and the evening breeze was cool. I felt happy, peaceful, and free. Today was another day for myself, and I had enjoyed every second of it. As I walked home, I thought about my life. I had spent so many years working, always busy, always tired, but now I saw things differently. Life was not just about work. It was about moments, about slowing down, about enjoying the little things. And I promised myself I would never forget this lesson. That evening, as I reached home, the sky was painted in shades of orange and pink. A cool breeze touched my face, carrying the scent of flowers from a nearby garden. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The house was quiet and everything felt peaceful. I took off my shoes, stretched my arms, and let out a deep sigh. The day had been slow, simple, and beautiful. I wanted every day to feel like this. I placed my new book on the table and walked to the kitchen. I opened the fridge, looking for something fresh to eat. I took out some fruit, washed them carefully, and placed them on a plate. The bright colors of the fruit looked beautiful under the kitchen light. I sat down and took a bite. The taste was sweet, fresh, and full of life. I had never enjoyed something so simple this much before. After eating, I poured myself a glass of water and walked to the balcony. The night air was cool and the city lights shone brightly. People were still outside, walking, laughing, and talking. I leaned on the railing and watched the world move. For the first time in a long time, I was not in a hurry. I had no emails to check, no phone calls to answer, no stress to carry. It felt strange, but it also felt right. I went inside, picked up my book, and laid down on the couch. The pages were soft under my fingers, and the words flowed smoothly in my mind. The story pulled me in, making me forget everything else. Time passed, but I did not care. I was not thinking about work, responsibilities, or deadlines. I was just there, in the moment, enjoying the story like I used to when I was younger. After reading for a while, I put the book down and closed my eyes. The silence of the house felt comforting. I thought about my life, about all the years I had spent working, running from one task to another. I had always believed that success meant being busy, but now I was starting to see things differently. Success was not just about work. It was also about happiness, about peace, about taking time to live. I stood up and walked around the room, looking at the small things I had never paid attention to before. The old pictures on the shelf, the little souvenirs from past travels, the soft glow of the lamp in the corner, each of them held a memory, a story, a piece of my life. I smiled as I touched them, remembering moments I had forgotten. I walked to the window and looked outside once more. The stars were shining in the dark sky, calm and endless. I took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill my lungs. I was alive, I was here, and for the first time in years, I was truly enjoying my own company. This day had been a gift, a reminder of what life could be when I slowed down. As I prepared for bed, I made a quiet promise to myself. I would not let life pass me by in endless work and stress. I would take more days like this. I would find joy in simple things. I would live, not just exist. With that thought, I turned off the lights, lay down and let sleep take me into a peaceful night. The next morning, I woke up feeling rested and calm. The soft light of the sun filled my room, and the gentle sound of birds singing came through the window. I stretched my arms and took a deep breath, feeling the cool morning air. For the first time in a long time, I did not feel rushed. There was no alarm, no urgent emails, no pressure waiting for me. It was just me, my time, and a new day to enjoy. I slowly got out of bed and walked to the kitchen. The house was silent, and everything felt peaceful. I prepared my coffee, enjoying the rich, warm smell as it filled the air. I held the cup in both hands and took a sip, letting the taste wake me up. As I stood by the window, I watched the city slowly come to life. People were already outside, moving fast, starting their busy day. But I was in no hurry. I had nothing to rush for, and that was a wonderful feeling. After breakfast, I decided to go for a walk. The air was crisp, and the streets were still quiet. I walked slowly, noticing the little details I had always ignored before. The old buildings, the small cafes, the street artists painting on the walls. Everything seemed more colorful, more alive. It was as if I was seeing my own city for the first time. The world felt bigger, more beautiful, simply because I had taken the time to notice it. I stopped at a park and sat on a wooden bench under a tall tree. The shade was cool, and the wind moved gently through the leaves. People passed by, some walking alone, some talking with friends, some playing with their children. I closed my eyes for a moment, feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin. I had spent so much of my life running from one task to another. Now I was learning to stop, to breathe, to just be. After a while, I continued walking and found a small bakery. The smell of fresh bread and warm pastries filled the air. I stepped inside and looked around. The shelves were full of golden, crispy bread, soft cakes, and sweet rolls. I picked a small pastry, something simple, but fresh. I took a bite, and for a moment, nothing else mattered. The taste was sweet, the texture was soft, and the moment was perfect. With my pastry in hand, I walked to a quiet street with old houses and little gardens. Flowers bloomed in different colors, and the scent of roses and jasmine floated in the air. I slowed my steps, enjoying the peacefulness. I realized how much I had missed moments like this. Life was not just about big achievements or hard work. It was also about these small, beautiful moments, the ones that often went unnoticed. As the afternoon passed, I made my way back home. My body was light, my mind was clear, and my heart was full. I had spent the day doing nothing important, yet it felt meaningful. I had no deadlines, no tasks, no stress. Just time to appreciate life. I finally understood something simple but powerful. Happiness was not something far away. It was in the little things, the quiet moments, the time we give to ourselves. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about the past 2 days. I had worked hard for so many years, believing that was the only way to live. But now I saw a different way. A slower, softer, more peaceful way. A way that let me breathe, enjoy, and truly live. I closed my eyes with a deep sense of gratitude. Tomorrow would come, and life would continue, but I knew one thing for sure. I would never forget this feeling. The next morning, I woke up with a quiet mind. The soft light touched my face, and the air was cool. I lay in bed for a while, just breathing. No rush, no worries, no plans. It felt strange, but it felt right. I had spent years running through life. Now I was learning to slow down. I got up and made a cup of tea. The steam rose gently, warming my hands. I took small sips, enjoying the taste. Outside, the world moved fast, but I stayed still. My heart was calm, my body light. I smiled, knowing I had given myself something special. Time. I decided to spend the morning at home. I cleaned my room, arranging small things on the shelves. Every book, every picture, every little object held a memory. I dusted them carefully, feeling connected to my past. It was a simple task, but it brought peace. Later, I sat by the window with my book. The words pulled me in, creating a new world. I turned the pages slowly, savoring each sentence. Time passed, but I did not notice. The story flowed, and I felt happy. It had been too long since I let myself get lost in a book. By the afternoon, I went for a short walk. The sky was clear, the air fresh. I took slow steps, feeling the ground under my feet. Life around me was busy, but I did not rush. I looked at the trees, the people, the small moments. Everything felt simple, yet beautiful. As the sun began to set, I returned home. The sky turned orange and pink, filling the room with warm light. I sat in silence, watching the colors change. My heart felt full. These 2 days had taught me something important. Life was not just about work. It was also about rest, about joy, about being present. That night, as I lay in bed, I felt different. My thoughts were lighter, my body relaxed. I had found something valuable, something I did not want to lose. I promised myself I would remember this lesson. No matter how busy life became, I would always make time. Time to breathe, time to rest, time to live.